So, just want to talk a little bit about the current state of the Arab Spring. This in November of 2011. We're a good half year into, I guess, the beginning of it. And what's amazing to me is that people get caught up so easily in the drama of it. The Days of Our Lives aspect of, how did they catch him and what was he wearing, and this guy got that guy's kid, and what kind of retaliation and what kind of third party actors are going to step in. And really, that all obscures the central point of why are these things happening, and with the American empire and our enforced hegemony across the world, how is it that these things were allowed to happen? Because if you think that on one hand we are the all-powerful America, and on the other hand, simultaneously, we would let something like that get out of control, without our involvement, I think that you have a serious contradiction in beliefs there that are not consistent with one another at all. So here's the thing: if we truly are this global hegemon, then obviously we were at least aware of it and allowed it to happen. Particularly, we talk about Libya, a very dangerous precedent. This, I believe, could possibly be the litmus test. Lately, the other day, on Twitter and my support for Ron Paul, I was talking about that this is the last exit for liberty. And if you don't stand up and object now, then we're at a tipping point. We've reached the precipice, and if people don't resist things like the Libyan engagement, which who knows if we have troops on the ground, we may not have any giant army units in there, but I'm sure we got some of those guys in green face paint and black pajamas. I'm sure that's anyway. That's not the point. The point is that Obama ceded his decision to go militarily into Libya to NATO, and not only have we followed this pattern of wars not being declared by Congress, which is fully outside the constitutional boundaries, which we've all taken an oath to support and defend, at least us folks in the military community and public service, cops, politicians, the president, and all that. And we gave the authority to NATO. We let ourselves be dragged in and feigned like, oh, well, it was our obligation, when I think everybody can agree that the United States is NATO. And the whole Libya thing wasn't going to happen because at the onset it was like Britain and France, and then we were only supposed to come in for a few days, but pretty much had to quarterback the whole thing. And that was just an event. We don't need to get too far into weeds on that, but you look at Gaddafi, who's been I don't want to say a lap boy because his problems originated from the fact he was refusing to be our lap boy. But he's been in the fold, in the mix, the same way that Mubarak in Egypt was. And you look at all these like limited engagements, and now we're talking about Obama has deep reservations about Sudan or Grenada or whatever, and he's taken this concept of hope and change and the message of peace, and he's repackaged war and killing in this cloak of peace action. So you got to look all these longtime CIA assets like Gaddafi and Mubarak, and you got like Manuel Noriega, like all the way back. It's an unbroken chain, at least back that far. That's all pretty well documented stuff. What point does it serve? Is this just a house cleaning of our figurehead, paper governments over there? I mean, Gaddafi's problem really was that he said essentially "fuck you" to the West. They put him in the good old boys club, and then after he was in there, he said, well, as a matter of fact, we are going to have a Muslim based system of government, and we're going to crack down on everything like you want us to, so your interests are protected. I just learned this today watching BP was created solely to exploit Libyan oil. Or was it Iranian? I forget. But anyway, it was a different name. meant to just basically take the oil from that one country, which evolved into everything. And the point that I'm getting at, which I got confused with Libya and Iran there, is like now we got the IAEA. There it is, the atomic watchdog of the United Nations, has just claimed again for the umpteenth time that nuclear weaponry was imminent. And I had the boss man at work excitedly saying, "Did you hear? Israel and Iran are on the verge of all-out war." And I was like, "Good, fuck it, good." But let Israel take care of their own business. Let them fight it out. That's their neighborhood. That's their problem. And I think everybody would be better off just have it out, but don't drag us in. Don't look to us for permission either. If it's a legit matter of national Israeli security, then let them handle it. There's no reason to, first of all, fear Israel handling its own affairs. That needs to happen in full, sooner rather than later. And this is a point that Ron Paul is catching a lot of flack for because it doesn't fit well into a soundbite, but we have nothing to fear from an Iranian nuclear program. First of all, they do deserve the dignity of being able to support themselves energy-wise, which they have a problem with for being an oil-rich nation, not being able to produce their own gasoline. It demonstrates a need for energy independence, and maybe they could produce their own gasoline, except for we've set up a system of theft for our Iranian oil. So anyway, they're floating this idea. They're imminently about to have the capacity to have a weapon, or it's so convoluted by the time it gets to you, you only get the gist of it, which is how it's designed. And if they're really such a danger, if they're really such a threat, then how come North Korea has been off the table the entire time? Because it doesn't fit the storyline. They're the only one of the entire original George W. Bush Axis of Evil that has a nuclear weapons program and shows it off and is menacing to anyone. In their case, South Korea, which again, that's not our business. World War II and the Korean War and all that. Like that was decades ago. There's no reason for us to maintain our thing. And Korea, that's a unresolved situation. That border is just where General MacArthur happened to stop when the armistice was signed. So eventually, in the long view of history, that situation is going to have to eventually be resolved. The arbitrary line on the map is a temporary measure, which is remarkable in its longevity, but not going to last. And we'll probably never voluntarily relinquish it. It'll be a part of the crumbling empire when our overreach finally tombs us. But that's not really a bad thing for the people who are causing it to happen, because America's decline is in their plan. That's a set play that's going to be called at the right time, essentially. But what I want to say is, because all these reasons, which are abundantly clear and obviously a charade contextualized in the language of falsehoods. But what I want to say is, you're going to have to resist this Iranian war drum, this propaganda, and just don't get caught up in the 24-hour news cycle and the Ministry of Truth in Orwellian terms. And we've not always been at war with Oceania. It might seem that way, but these reports shift and sway with the wind. And really, what we should do is listen to our own experts on the matter, the CIA, who know way more than the IAEA or the UN or anything, because we got our thumb on all of that, despite the validity of that. That's the truth. And our own CIA says no, they're not even close. There's nothing to worry about. That comes from the CIA. And the Iranian people, they're not aggressive. I mean, they talk a big game, but you should be able to say whatever the hell you want to say. And their last war, they were invaded by Iraq at our prompting. Iran is not a big worry. They're not aggressive towards their neighbors. They stay within their own confines, and whatever happens in there really is none of our business, even if we don't like it. So avoid the rush to war on Iran, and if they want to fight Israel, we're gonna just have to let that happen. It's not our business, and if that does get stirred up, make it known. Make it known that the Israelis don't need us to fight their wars for them. They got over 300 nukes of their own, and I don't believe feel any serious threat from Iran, but. They're going to have their hands full. If we go into Iran, they're not going to just fall over. The Iranian people have a tremendous amount of solidarity, philosophically and civically speaking, and they'll have a well organized response to an invasion, which is going to draw the entire region in. And I would say of the available options, us leaving Iraq and letting the Iranian boys move into our fancy barracks and become a regional power might in the long run be a good thing for the state of the world to have a marketplace of ideas, and if theirs is so horrible, it'll be rejected. So don't get caught up in the fear. Maintain an active and critical mind, and make sure your voice is heard, and make sure you do your part to help your friends, family, neighbors, and random acquaintances understand the issues of the day in a clear-headed and open-minded way, and not to be a victim of fear. Because after all, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Brother B. Ron. Deuce.